The future of this republic is in the hands of the Nigerian voter. This is why all 18 presidential candidates staked their claims to the presidency at the just concluded elections. Defeated candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Gregory Obi, broke down, I should say, but vowed to prove he won the election and would head to the court to show it. But ahead of the March 11 governorship polls, Senate President Ahmed Lawan has tasked the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to abide by the Constitution and the Electoral Act 2022. It is not opinion polls that determine the outcome of elections. It's only votes and the ballot box based on laid down laws. Jide.
Yes. You can't win the election on paper. You have to win the election on the field. And the election has been fought and won. It's as simple as that. Peter Obi says he won the election. But he didn't even come second in the election. So he has a mountain to climb. He has a mountain to climb to prove that he indeed won the election. It's up to him where he can find the facts to show that he indeed won the election. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as far as evidence can go, as far as the collation and announcement of result by INEC can go, has been returned elected after a well-fought battle. We predicted that it would be a close contest. It won't be like what happened in previous years. In 2011, the man who won the election not only had the popular vote, but also had 25% in 34 states. This time around, none of the candidates was able to get 34 states to score 25% and above in 34 states. No one. Neither Obi, nor Atiku scored 25% in 24 states. Neither of them. So it's difficult to say that they have valid grounds to say that they won the election. Facts are what they are. Obi can weep as much as he wants, but it will not validate the fact that he was defeated in this election. Obi reminds me of President Buhari in those days when he would claim that, oh, I was rigged out. But President Buhari never won any state outside of the core north. And you can't be president of Nigeria until you are able to win elections
At least.
across the
length and
the
breadth
6 geopolitical zones of our country. You won't be elected. You can do all the huffing and puffing. It won't change anything. What the framers of the Constitution got right is the stipulation that you must have 25% in 24 states. That will show that you have considerable support across the length and breadth of our country.
The FCT election don't count much.
No, the FCT is viewed. There have been 2 court cases.
Okay.
One decided by the Supreme Court, showing that you do not have to win the FCT to be elected. If you score the mandatory 25% in 24 states, even if you didn't score 25% in the FCT, you will be you are good to go. But some people in this season think that they can simply hoodwink or lie to Nigerians. They are now making it look like no president can be validly elected until he has won Abuja, or until he has recorded 25% in Abuja.
In the FCT.
In the FCT. In the FCT. It is ignorance peddling, and it's a very shameful level of ignorance peddling, because the idiocy in the argument is, does it mean that if you won election in 36 states,
Yeah.
but failed woefully in FCT,
You won't be.
will anybody be able to validly say you are not qualified to be validly elected just because you didn't win a very small portion of our country? Look at the map. See how small Abuja FCT is. So, in the eyes of the law, Abuja is seen, literally speaking, as one of the states. But in the real sense of the word, it's not a state. And that was why they said, and if they saw Abuja as a state, they would have said 37 states.
That's it.
But they said 36 states and the one that is not a state. That's Abuja.
Yeah.
It's a very simple put-in. Once you have it, if you have 25% in 23 states,
Yeah.
and you are lucky to have it in Abuja, you are good to go.
Yeah.
That's the way. That is as simple as that.
Kola, the judiciary has intervened in elections in our country over time.
Yeah.
So you can't begrudge Mr. Obi going to court or the PDP doing same. I know the SDP had said they were not interested in going to court here.
Right from from 1999, has there been any election that that has not been contested, really? None. However, in our democratization process, there is a need for us to also know that the so-called teething phase cannot last forever. The first man that used, I think Bryce was the first person that used the word democratization to mean entrenching democracy.
The process.
The process itself. So that process, I think, is what people are challenging. I've analyzed this before elsewhere. You start from the 1958, 1959 Electoral Commission of Nigeria that was headed by Edward, the so-called exploratory. There were complaints, remember, sir?
Yeah.
Of course you remember. Grandpa? Remember. The 1960, also, the FEC, when Kofo Abayomi had to resign before the election. There were complaints, on and on, 93, including the 1978 FEDECO.
Of course, you cannot forget 12 2/3 and all that.
Oh yeah. I think the only one that we didn't complain about, of course, the people didn't have that temerity that got to complain, was the Nekon, the Abacha Nekon.
Yeah.
He was the sole person. And from the beginning of this dispensation, of this republic, since 1999, we've been complaining. And I think we have held terrible elections thus far. What makes this different? It's because we started having some hope that, okay, finally we'll have a very transparent election. And there was this high amount of energy in the public. The people, the youth, wanted to participate to determine their future. And this is not just one item. It's a process. There are different layers. And part of it was the transmission of results, but not the only one. The use of technology as stipulated in the law started from accreditation via your BVAS machine, the voting and all that. That transmission, that in itself does not validate or invalidate election, is the major issue here. Let me come to the bone of contention. I will come to the bone of contention. Let me digress a bit. You see, the posting to the IREV, one, for us to be able to monitor the election. It wasn't going to be the collation ground because, after all, after the vote, after the voting process at the unit, you will still need to sign the form EC8. Of course, you upload a copy, but you take it to the Ward Collation Center for collation. The collation is still manual. Now, what the job of the IREV is to ensure that the citizens are able to monitor as a result are flowing in. It's not even the center for collation. That we need to understand. However, albeit, that process that brought trust, that process that was going to engender trust in the entire electioneering process was what INEC failed to deliver. And that is the bone of contention. Now, today, we have given room for people to raise different conspiracy theory simply because we failed to deliver that process. And that has nothing to do with any of the candidates. It has everything to do with the institution and those who are managing the institution, INEC. At first, they told us that they had technical glitches. And, well, we don't know why they were unable to resolve that all through. I remember a workshop I attended a week before the election. And after, it was from 9:30 to 6 p.m. or so. And somebody asked a question, of course, a major stakeholder in this process, and asked the question that, what if, because we were to be dealing with all the results real time as they flow into the IREV, that what if on that day, the INEC server breaks down and we are not able to access the results? So what is the essence of everything we're doing here?
That's it.
Well, of course, we said, no, that's not possible. But by now we know that INEC would have a plan B for that. But that failed. So holding INEC responsible for that should be a collective, duty. Why? I think it was Pericles that talked about citizenship. He said, we only properly become a man when we become a citizen. That is, when we are able to fight for public interest. So it is in the interest of the public for us to demand that INEC, going forward, should be able to ensure that the rules, the guidelines that is set, they follow. But on the election itself, if, for example, one of the candidates said, I won, there must be proofs. It doesn't matter how much of claims we put in the public space. The question is, are there proofs? If there are proofs, does it mean that what we have at the collation center were different from what eventually got to the INEC in Abuja and what was uploaded? If that is the case, we should let him go to court. Okay. And at least it will contribute to the democratization process. However, there are two germane things now. The number two, the second position is laying claim to the victory. The third position is laying claim to the victory. I don't know how possible it is that either of them can have it. And it is more difficult for Labour because the two-thirds that they need to have across the country, they didn't have. And we must also understand that the dynamics...
PDP didn't have it.
Oh, okay. See, the dynamics of a national election like ours is beyond the outlook, the outplay, and the dynamics of a particular area. You must have the national spread.
All right. Kwala Njidi, we will play what Peter Obi and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said vis-a-vis they're going to court. Watch on, please.
Gratitude to the obedient youths, those who believe that a new Nigeria is possible. And I say to them that a new Nigeria is possible. And we'll work for that new Nigeria that is possible. Their resilience, their hard work for a new Nigeria should not be waned. Daddy and I remain committed to that new Nigeria.
I have come to the conclusion that the processes and outcome of the presidential and national assembly elections of last Saturday was grossly flawed in every material particular, and as such must be challenged by all of us. I know that Nigerians, especially the youth, are traumatized by the developments. But I want to urge them to conduct themselves peacefully. Like I have done over the years, I assure you that I will commit the rest of my life in ensuring that true democracy, which affirms the supremacy of your votes and your will take firm footing and guarantee a stable, prosperous, and peaceful Nigeria.
All right. Jide, you know, one little fly in the ointment is the fact that Nigerian politicians are seen as bad losers.
Very bad loser. This same Atiku that we just played his tape. Remember what he did when he lost the presidential primaries of the PDP to Goodluck Jonathan. There was nothing he didn't say. Nigerians should do a tie back to what he was saying there, hinting that even running the government could be made difficult. And he lost the election on the day every ballot that went against him, Nigerians saw, because they were counting their ballots on live television.
Yeah.
But because he didn't go according to his plan, according to his wish, there was nothing he didn't say. Threats, incitement. That is what we are saying now. So it fits into his idiosyncrasies that he will lose and then not be happy about the fact. Yes, it's painful to lose, especially when it looks like your last shake of the dice. It's painful to lose. But this thing is still a game at the end of the day, and you can't all win. It's ridiculous for somebody who came third to be saying that he won and that he will prove it. It's clear that Obi did not win a single Nigerian state dominated by Muslims. Not one. A single Nigerian state dominated by Muslims, Peter Obi did not win. Nobody will be able to win the presidency in our country if his support base is from just a geopolitical area,
a particular
or
region, yeah.
a support base is one religion.
Yeah.
Mr. President contested several times. He could not win on all of those occasions because it was a provincial mindset. He could not get the votes from the South. Peter Ayodele Fayose was here the other day and was talking like nobody had ever done what Peter Obi did. Of course, Fayose is not a historian. Peter, in 2011, Buhari recorded more than 12 million votes, about 12 million 200 and something votes.
Yeah.
That is almost double what Peter Obi got this time. In that same year, Buhari won more states than Peter Obi won. He also added 25% in Abuja. And he had only 4 months. The party, he had 4 months. CPC was formed, and in 4 months, Buhari took it to battle, and Buhari won more states than Peter Obi won now, and got almost double. In fact, just a few hundreds. It could have been double the votes that Peter Obi got. So they should stop giving the impression that nobody has ever done what Peter Obi did. To say that is to show that you know little about history. Because all you need to do is go to 2011, you see what happened.
KJ, you know, quickly, in a breath, let's talk about the second leg of the story. Senate President Ahmed Lawan has tasked the INEC. Next Saturday, the governorship elections are here. Do it according to the rule.
No, perhaps by inference, he is saying that the first was not done according to the rule. I mean, I don't know what will make, what I will make up with that, except he's saying that, ensure this one too follows the rule. Because if he's saying, this time around, make sure this one follows the rule, perhaps he's trying to tell us what we do not know. However, I was going to mention something. At times, we build strong hope without data. The candidate of LP said, one of the things that they will prove in court is the fact that now we have a larger registration, but the vote dwindled. Maybe I should take you through memory lane too. In 1999,
Make it brief.
Yeah, very brief. When we had 58 million projected voters, we recorded 30 million votes. That was way more than 60% or thereabout. Now, in 2003, we had 42 million votes out of 61 million. Again, that was way beyond. But look at what happened from 2015. We had 67 million, yet we had 29 million votes. What happened? The moment that we started introducing measures into the system to ensure that votes count, we started having a drop in the number of votes.
Expectedly.
Of course. In 2019, we had 82 million, increase again in the number of voters registration. Yet we still had 29 million total votes.
Yeah.
Now, this time around, the moment Beavers came, go and check the result of those states that the election came before us. Look at Anambra, look at Edo, look at it. Even look at Delta. Look at Borno that gave Buhari 901,000 or thereabouts in the last election.
Yeah.
They only brought 250,000 for APC this time around.
That's why their son was there.
Honestly, was right there contesting. So I think that assertion, if they are going to the court with that, that may not stand.